There are some reference books like your Genetic Algorithm by David Goldberg, The Neural Networks by Simon Hawkins, Fuzzy Sets and Logic by George Creed and others. Now, beside these three reference books, you can also see the NPTEL video lectures developed by me. Now, you can see the NPTEL lecture for the course, Traditional and Non-Traditional Tools for Optimization, and another course which you can see, that is Fuzzy Logic and Neural Networks. Now, let me start with the definitions of this particular, the knowledge-based system. Now, we human beings, we have a natural quest to know input-output relationship of a process. Now, supposing that for a particular engineering system of a process, if I know the set of inputs, I'll try to find out what should be their corresponding output. On the other hand, I can also try to find out what should be the set of inputs so that I can reach the desired level of output. Now here I'm just going to take the schematic diagram. So this shows the process or the system to be modeled, or whose input-output relationship I'm just going to determine. Now here, supposing that there are m inputs like I1, I2 up to IM, and there are n outputs, that is O1, O2 up to On. And our aim is to determine the input-output relationship. Now here, actually what we do in forward mapping, we try to represent the output as a function of the input parameters. So this particular set of outputs, I'm just going to present as a function of the input parameters, that is nothing but your forward mapping. So mathematically, O is nothing but a function of I. In the matrix form, the matrix O is nothing but the matrix T multiplied by matrix I. Now this T is nothing but the transformation matrix. Now this particular transformation matrix has to be determined, and it has to be invertible if I want to go for the reverse mapping. The purpose of reverse mapping, as I've already told, that if I want to find out what should be the set of inputs so that I can find out my desired level of output. Now determining that particular task is nothing but the task of reverse mapping. Now how to carry out the reverse mapping? So what you'll have to do is, on both the sides of this particular matrix equation, you'll have to multiply by T inverse. That is the inverse of this particular, the transformation matrix. Now, if I just multiply both the sides by T inverse, so I will be getting T inverse multiplied by O matrix, that is nothing but the I matrix. Now, this is the way actually I can carry out the reverse mapping. Now, my question is, why do you need this mapping in both the directions? We need this particular mapping in both the directions because if I want to automate a particular process, I need to know the input-output relationship in both the directions, both in the forward as well as the reverse direction. Now here, one condition has to be put, that this particular transformation matrix has to be invertible. That means its inverse should exist, and this particular transformation matrix has to be non-singular. Now, before I proceed further, let me try to concentrate on the methods which we generally follow to solve some engineering problem. Now, supposing that the problem is very simple. Its physics is known, its mathematics is known, so very easily you can find out the differential equation. And once you've got the differential equation corresponding to the problem, so we can find out its solution either using analytical method or numerical method. Now, whether you are using analytical method or numerical method, if you get the solution, very easily you can find out you can establish the input-output relationship of this particular the process. Now, supposing that the problem is more complex. Now, for this more complex problem, the physics is not known. You cannot find out the differential equation. So we cannot solve it. We cannot establish the input-output relationship of this particular the process. Now, what is the solution? The remedy or the solution is as follows. We carry out real experiments following some statistical design of experiment. In short, that is known as DOE, design of experiments. Now, if you see the literature on design of experiment, there are many methods available. For example, we have got the full factorial design. We have got the fractional factorial design. We have got the central composite design. We have got the Plackett-Bормond design, and so on. Now, using any one of these statistical design of experiment, you carry out the experiment and collect the data. And based on the collect data, you carry out the regression analysis using the principle of the least square error technique. Now, if you can find out the regression equation, that is nothing but the input-output relationship. And if you can find out the inverse of the transformation matrix, you can also carry out the reverse mapping. Now, supposing that the problem is even more complex, it's a real world problem, engineering problem, very difficult problem. You cannot find out the physics. Physics is not known 100%. So you cannot find out the differential equation. Now, if you cannot find out the differential equation, you cannot establish the input-output relationship. Now, for that particular problem, we generally go for the knowledge-based system or the expert system. Now, using this knowledge-based system or the expert system, you can find out the input-output relationship in both the forward as well as the reverse direction. Now, how to do it? That I will be discussing in details throughout this particular the course. Now, let me define in more details what do you mean by a knowledge-based system or an expert system. Now, to define it, let me read it out. The statement which I've written here, a knowledge-based system or an expert system is a computer program used to simulate human reasoning for solving a problem. Now, this human reasoning is very important, and that is related to the knowledge-based system or an expert system. Now, this human reasoning, to understand actually the purpose of using the human reasoning. So what I'm going to do is, I'm just going to take one example, one very practical example. And that practical example is related to, supposing that in one seminar room, so I'm delivering the lecture. Now, in that seminar room, I want to control the temperature and humidity, and I want to keep the temperature and humidity to the comfortable zone. How to do it? Now, if I want to develop the expert system or the knowledge-based system for this particular very complicated physical problem, let us see how to do it. The first thing we do is we try to identify the variables. For example, if I want to control the temperature and humidity of a seminar room using a particular, say, air conditioner or AC. So what we do is we first try to identify the variables. For example, the variables could be as follows: the temperature inside the room, then the temperature outside the room. Next is the humidity inside the room, humidity outside the room. Then comes your thermal conductivity of the wall of the seminar room. Then comes the number of people sitting in that particular the seminar room at a time. So all such things are important. And there is another thing which is very important, that is the output, that is the angle of valve opening. Now, supposing that I'm just going to give this particular task to a human operator, that you operate the angle of valve opening of the air conditioner so that the temperature and humidity inside the seminar room remains within the comfortable zone. There are two ways to solve this particular problem. The first method is the mathematical method. That means you try to establish the differential equation knowing the physics. And once you've got the differential equation, you solve it, and depending on the solution of this particular differential equation, you control the angle of valve opening. And if you can control the angle of valve opening, you can keep the temperature and humidity within the comfortable zone. This is the first method of solving. What is the second method? The second method is you just appoint one operator. Now this operator will see the condition inside that particular the seminar room at different instant of time, and accordingly he is going to regulate that particular the angle of valve opening. Now here actually I'm using the human reasoning. Now if I use the human reasoning as if I'm taking the help of the knowledge based system or the expert system, that means I'm going to utilize the knowledge base or the expert system of that particular the human operator. So just to summarize, so to develop a knowledge based system or an expert system, we'll have to concentrate on the human reasoning used to solve that particular the problem. Now here I have put some notes. An expert system simulates human reasoning about a problem domain, whereas ordinary computer program simulates the domain itself. If you remember, the first method of solving this particular problem, that is the mathematical approach, is nothing but your like based on the mathematical approach, we can develop the computer program to solve this. For the second method, we are going to use the human reasoning of an operator. So if I use the human reasoning of the operator, that is nothing but an expert system. Now, I just want to conclude here that expert system is a computer program, but it is not the ordinary computer program, because in this expert systems computer program, we try to simulate the human reasoning. And let me give one statement that all the expert systems are computer programs, but not all the computer programs are expert systems. I think it is clear to all of you. Now, the second note which I put here, it solves the problem using heuristic and approximate method. The moment I'm using the human reasoning, it will be the approximate method, okay, or the heuristic method. The next is it does not use any algorithmic or statistical method. It does not use any mathematical approach. Now, if you see construction wise, what is there inside the knowledge base or an expert system? So a knowledge base or an expert system consists of a knowledge base, an inference engine, and some forms of user interface. Let me concentrate and discuss in more details the concept of the knowledge base. Now, I'm just going to give you the brief introduction to the concept of knowledge base, but I'll be discussing in much more details this particular concept of knowledge base whenever I'll be discussing the principle of fuzzy sets and fuzzy logic. Now, to define this knowledge base, this is a collection of database and rule base. Now, let me define what do you mean by the database, what do you mean by the rule base. Now, let me take the same example of controlling the temperature and humidity of a seminar room using an AC, and I'm just going to develop one expert system or the knowledge based system who is going to control the angle of valve opening of the AC depending on the requirement. As I've already mentioned, that this problem is a very complex problem and it involves a large number of variables. Now, for simplicity, let me consider that angle of valve opening, that is the output, that is a function of only two variables or parameters, say the temperature inside the room and humidity inside the room. For simplicity, I'm not going to consider the other variables. Now, how to define the temperature and humidity inside that particular room? To define the temperature, let us suppose we use some linguistic term like your very low temperature, high temperature, very high temperature. Similarly, the humidity can be expressed using that particular information, like the low humidity, then comes the medium humidity, then comes the high humidity and very high humidity. Now, if I define the temperature and humidity using four linguistic terms H, now what you can do is I can define those four linguistic terms for temperature and humidity, and I can define what should be the database. Now, to define the database, we take the help of this type of linguistic term definition. Now, once you've got that particular database, so how to define the rule base? Now, once again, let me concentrate on the same problem. There are two inputs. One is temperature, and the second input is nothing but humidity. And to represent each of these particular inputs, so I'm using four linguistic terms. Now, if I use four linguistic terms, so 4 multiplied by 4, there will be 16 sets of combinations of input parameters. For example, say if temperature is low and humidity is high, then angle of valve opening is medium. So this is a rule. Now, to define this particular rule, I take the help of database. And the rule base consists of how many rules? 4 multiplied by 4, there will be 16 rules. So I hope I'm able to give you the concept of database and the rule base. And knowledge base consists of your database and rule base. Now, once we've designed that particular knowledge base, now I'm just going to use the inference engine. What is the function of an inference engine? The function of an inference engine is to fire a set of rules depending on the desired level of inputs. Now, in the rule base, I've got a large number of rules. The moment I pass one set of inputs, out of so many rules, only a few will be getting fired. And based on the fired rule, so I'm just going to find out what should be the output. Now, let me take another very practical example. Now, what is the purpose of taking this particular course on soft computing or knowledge-based system? The purpose is to design your own knowledge base regarding this particular subject. And let me take a very practical example. Supposing that, so you have attended all the classes of this particular course, you have studied the reading material, the textbook, and you have prepared yourself well for the exam. And you are in exam hall, say. The moment you enter the exam hall, question papers will be distributed. And supposing that there are 5 questions in the question paper. Now, the moment you see the question paper, you concentrate on question number 1. You read it out. You read out the question number 1. And if you want to give answer to question number 1, all of you will refer back to my class notes or to my lecture or to my textbook or the reference book to give answer to that particular the question. So depending on that particular question, your inference engine is going to activate some part of the rules or some part of the knowledge base to give a answer to that particular the question. The moment you have answered question number 1, then you go to question number 2. Once again, you read it out. The moment you read out that particular second question, another part of knowledge base will be activated so that you can write answer to the second question. This is the way actually our knowledge base works. I hope I'm clear the way it works. Now here I'm just going to show you the schematic view of that particular the knowledge base. So knowledge base consists of, as I told, knowledge base system consists of knowledge base, which is a combination of database and rule base. And we have got the inference engine. The moment one set of inputs are coming, so inference engine is going to decide which part of the knowledge base should be activated to give reply to that particular the queries. And depending on that, so you will be able to find out what should be the output. Now here, exactly the same thing which I have discussed to define the database, rule base and inference engine. So I have written it. So let me read it out. Now this DB stands for database, and database is nothing but a set of numerical values used to represent the physical parameters which are presented in a particular fashion. And once we have defined that particular database, then we define the rule base. A rule base consists of a number of rules, each of which is used to relate an output to the inputs using the information of database. So this is the way actually we can define that particular the rule base. And as I told, that rule base consists of a large number of rules. And depending on the set of inputs, a part of the rule base will be activated, and that particular task will be done by the inference engine. So the purpose of using inference engine is as follows. For a set of inputs, it determines which part of the knowledge base is getting fired or becoming active to determine the output. The next is, why do you need an expert system? What is the purpose? Now, let us try to understand the reason behind going for this knowledge-based system or the expert system. Now, this I have already mentioned that for a simple problem, we need not go for the expert system. We can solve it mathematically using differential equation. But unfortunately, most of the engineering problems are very complex. It's very nonlinear. So you cannot find out the differential equation. Let me take a very simple example. You'll be astonished to hear this particular example. Now you have studied the course on metal cutting. So there are many methods of metal cutting, okay, like turning on lead, drilling, milling, face milling, and so on. There are so many such methods. Now, can you please tell me which one is the simplest of all machining operations? The answer is very simple. Turning, that straight turning, is the simplest of all machining operations. And you'll be astonished to listen that till today, there is no 100% correct differential equation corresponding to the very simple machining operation, that is straight turning carried out on a lathe. And to define this particular differential equation, we take the help of number of assumptions to make that problem simple so that we can derive some differential equation. I hope you have understood that for most of the engineering problems, those are so much complex that we will not be able to find out the differential equation. We will not be able to solve it in the practical sense. And here comes actually the real strength of expert system or the knowledge-based system. And let me tell you, there is no way out, but you'll have to use the expert system or the knowledge-based system if you want to establish the input-output relationship of a complex engineering problem. Now, the second point which I've put it here is very important. If properly developed, if the expert system is properly developed, it may give some information which are very difficult to foresee beforehand. Let me take a very simple example. Let me share my practical experiences. We have developed, designed different types of expert system. Out of all these expert systems, let me take at least one example. For example, say the expert system related to design and development of intelligent and autonomous systems. So we have worked on various types of robots. We have tried to make these particular robots intelligent and autonomous. Now, to make the robots intelligent and autonomous, we'll have to develop adaptive motion planner, adaptive controller. Now, let me try to concentrate on adaptive motion planner. How to derive, how to design the adaptive motion planner. To design the adaptive motion planner for the intelligent and autonomous robot, we take the help of expert system or the knowledge-based system. And from my own experience, I can tell you that while designing the expert system, I personally could not foresee a few behaviors of the robot. But once it was developed nicely, the adaptive motion planner could solve a few problems which I could not foresee beforehand. So to summarize, so if the expert system is developed in a proper way, it will be able to solve a few problems which the designer could not foresee beforehand. This is the real strength of expert system or the knowledge-based system. But the problem is not so simple. Problem is very complex. The main task is how to design and develop the suitable knowledge-based system. And to design and develop the suitable knowledge-based system, we try to develop the knowledge-based system in this particular course. Now, the syllabus of this course is how to design and develop the suitable knowledge base. Now, this particular subject or the study comes under the umbrella of knowledge engineering. In short, this is known as KE. And this is also known as applied artificial intelligence, or this is also known as computational intelligence. In short, that is nothing but is your CI. And to develop and design this particular the knowledge base, we'll have to take the help of the soft computing. Now I'm just going to define this particular the term soft computing. In fact, I'll be defining this particular the term soft computing in the next class in much more details. Now, with this particular information, now let me try to give some example of the well-known the knowledge-based system. Now, if you see the literature, there are a large number of knowledge-based systems or expert systems available. For example, if you see, you'll be getting one knowledge-based system or an expert system that is known as Dendral. Now, Dendral is actually one of the most popular expert systems or the knowledge-based system. The purpose of developing this particular Dendral is to determine the structure of chemical compounds for the given set of constituent elements. So all of you know in chemistry, to develop a particular chemical compound, you'll have to use the constituent elements in a particular proportion and under some working condition. Now, if you change the working condition, even by keeping the same ratio of the constituent elements, you may get a slightly different components. Or if you change the ratio of the constituent elements, and if you keep the same working condition, there is a possibility you'll be getting the different chemical compounds. So this particular fact of chemistry was modeled using the expert system or the knowledge-based system, which is known as Dendral. And with the successful design and implementation of this particular Dendral, it could discover
Sir, I think sir, you are muted.
I'm sorry. Let me repeat. Let me repeat some examples of knowledge-based system. So here I'm just going to give you some examples of very popular the knowledge-based system. The first one is Dendral. The purpose of Dendral is to determine the structure of chemical compounds for a given set of constituent elements. Now, you know the fact in chemistry, like to develop a particular chemical compound, you'll have to use a set of constituent elements after maintaining some ratio and some working condition. Now, if you maintain the same ratio and change the working condition, there is a possibility that you'll be getting the different chemical compounds. And let me tell you, by keeping the same ratio of the constituent element, if you vary the working condition, you'll be getting different compounds. If you keep the same working condition, but vary the ratio of the constituent element, you'll be getting the different chemical compounds. So this particular fact in chemistry has been modeled using the knowledge-based system or the expert system that is nothing but Dendral. Now using this particular Dendral, a large number of unknown compounds could be discovered using this particular the expert system. Now I'm just going to concentrate on another very popular expert system used for medical diagnosis, that is known as MySIN. The purpose of using MySIN is to diagnose infectious blood diseases and determine a recommended list of therapies for the patients. Now here I just want to share my own experience. We have also developed some expert systems or knowledge-based systems related to medical diagnosis. We have already tackled a number of diseases. Out of all the studies, the most important one is how we could tackle the problem of psychosis, that is mental disease. Now, you'll be astonished to listen that in our hospital, BC Rai Hospital, there is one doctor, Dr. Chattopadhyay. So he worked for the PhD under my guidance to develop the expert system or the knowledge-based system related to this medical diagnosis, that is your psychosis. Now, if you see the literature, there are 7 grades of this particular the psychosis. Now, the moment one mental patient come to an expert medical doctor, the medical doctor asks a number of questions. And depending on the reply to those questions, the doctor, the expert doctor decides whether that particular patient, the mental patient, is suffering from grade 1 disease or grade 2 disease or grade 7 disease. There are actually 7 grades of mental diseases, psychosis. So this particular, the process we could model using the knowledge-based system or expert system. And using that particular expert system or the knowledge-based system related to psychosis, we could do the classification of the patients into 7 groups, like whether the patient is suffering from group 1 of psychosis or group 2 of psychosis up to group 7 of psychosis. And we tested this particular thing and it was very successful. Now, another very popular expert system or the knowledge-based system you might have heard about. That is your IBM's Deeper Blue. So in the year 1997, so this particular expert system or the knowledge-based system was developed. And this expert system could defeat the world chess champion Garry Kasparov. I think all of you know this particular fact. So one expert system or the knowledge-based system could defeat the world chess champion Garry Kasparov. Now remember, this problem was a little bit simple because in chess playing, the geography or the geometry is known. Now, if I consider the soccer playing robots or the football playing robots, there the environment that is going to change with time, but that is not the case with chess playing. So the environment for the chess playing will remain the same, but in football playing or the soccer playing, the environment is going to change with time. So that is much more difficult. And once again, we people, including a large number of investigators throughout the world, are trying how to design and develop suitable expert system or the knowledge-based system for the soccer playing robots so that they can play and ultimately they can win that particular the game. And once again, this is not an easy problem. This is a very difficult problem because the environment is going to be changed. Now, similarly, there are some other examples. And if you see the literature, you will be getting different types of such examples. Now, let me summarize what did I discuss in today's class. I started with defining that particular the knowledge-based system or the expert system, how to define a knowledge-based system or an expert system, what are the different components of the expert system or the knowledge-based system, why do you need a knowledge-based system or an expert system, then what are the possible examples of existing expert system or the knowledge-based systems. So all such things I discussed in details. And in the next class, I'm just going to start with the concept of soft computing. And as I've already mentioned, that you'll have to use the principle of soft computing to develop very efficient knowledge-based system or the expert system. Now, how to design and develop that expert system or the knowledge-based system using the principle of soft computing, I'm going to discuss through this particular course throughout the semester. Now, before I stop today, let me request you a few things. The first thing is I've already mentioned in that ERP mail that as we are following the online system, so I'll request you, if you have any doubt, please send mail to my Gmail account that is softcomputinglab@gmail.com, and you send me your doubts and queries. I'll try to clear your doubts through email. Or if I cannot clear it through email, I'll be going to discuss at the beginning of the next class. So the next class, before I start with the contents, I'll be trying my level best to clear your doubts of the previous class. Please follow that. Otherwise, there will be very chaotic situation during the presentation. The next thing is, please do not use your audio and video whenever I'm delivering the lecture, because it creates a lot of noise. So, and the third thing is regarding the grading. I've already mentioned in that ERP mail that you know that there will be no mid-sem, end-sem for this particular course. So what I'll do is I'll be giving you some assignments, and I'll tell you. So in the assignment, there could be a number of problems, number of numerical examples. Some of the examples will be for your own practice, and some other examples will be for your evaluation. That instruction I'll send you clearly through ERP mail. Then what you'll have to do is you'll have to submit that particular assignment which will be used for evaluation. And regarding the practice problem, if you have any doubt, I'll try my level best to clear your doubts. And there will be some test, might be some, I have not yet decided the mode of that particular test. Might be there will be some MCQ type of test, okay? And there could be a number of tests. So please send your the assignments in time or on time, otherwise there will be late marking. Please appear all the tests, and at the end, I'll be considering your test, your performance in the test, performance in the assignments to decide your grades. Now with this, let me stop here today. But before I stop, let me tell you, our next class will be tomorrow at 11 a.m. So tomorrow at 11 a.m., once again, we are going to meet. And I have got one request to all of you. Please attend all the classes. And if required, you can also see my NPTEL video lectures for the two courses, that is traditional and non-traditional optimization tools and fuzzy logic and neural networks. All such lecture notes, lecture videos are available in YouTube also. But there is another course on robotics. You need not see that course on robotics. That is a separate course. My NPTEL course on robotics. You need not see that. Till now, so I have developed 3 NPTEL courses. You see the traditional and non-traditional optimization tools, and NPTEL course on fuzzy logic and neural networks. And before I stop today, once again, let me repeat that a particular student is not allowed to take both the courses of soft computing and knowledge-based system. So you'll be able to take any one of these 2 subjects. So let me stop here today. We are going to meet tomorrow at 11.